Well, hello everybody. If you see, you can see that Joe brought a friend. Joe's got a roommate there in his little square, his little Hollywood square.
Yeah, times are getting tough, guys. So I have to move in with somebody.
Man, if we had a bloopers reel, we could have like a 3-hour show just on blooper reels.
Yeah, honestly.
Hey, we're trying though. We're trying.
That's right.
Let's get back to this intro here. Well, hello everybody. Let's pretend that didn't happen. You're watching the HVAC Overtime show. If you didn't know, you guys all know me, Curious HVAC Guy. To my far left, we got Adam, A-Team Adam.
Hello.
Right in the middle there, we got, who is this guy? Joe Canada, HVACR North. Joe, there you go. Wave or say hello or something like that. And the show is brought to you in part by Refrigeration Technologies. John Pastorelli and his Venom packs and all that fun stuff. Which, speaking of that, we got to hit him up for some more swag.
Yeah.
Now that I'm thinking about it.
Interesting.
Also, guys, don't forget, if you're unaware, we have a Facebook group. HVAC Overtime, of course, is the name. Go on your Facebook, find us, click that join button, answer the 2 very difficult questions, and we'll probably let you in. If you simply have a pulse, stand up straight, don't matter, we'll let you in. If you have any questions, suggestions, comments, complaints, just want to talk, need somebody to lean on, a shoulder to cry on, you can email us, hvacovertime@gmail.com. That is also where you should send all your awesome pictures from the field. Anything you guys work on that's pretty cool. I mean, we're probably going to do a show next week entirely dedicated to viewer picks. We just had a lot of stuff going on recently, so we kind of put some pictures in the back burner for now, but we're going to have a show dedicated to all those. And real quick, guys, don't forget to hit that like and subscribe button here. I'm going to actually like it myself. I should probably subscribe to this channel since I'm here every once in a while. So, yeah. How are you guys doing this week?
Well, that was fun.
Yeah. I just think we started off with a bang. It was pretty good.
Yeah.
I mean, as long as...
You see, Joe brought a friend.
Yeah, I told you. Times are getting tough, guys. I got to...
As long as...
R22 is expensive, So.
As long as the stream just doesn't go dark.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm watching right over here just to see if our screen starts lagging.
Interesting.
So how are your weeks, guys?
Pretty good.
I'll tell you my week first because it was super awesome. I worked on Monday, and then I worked today. And that's about it.
Yeah. I got done a little bit late today. I was running behind schedule. Did a mini split. A little Daikin mini split. Turned out to be a pain in the butt. I hate using line hide. I just hate it. You know what I mean? It doesn't snap together very well. It pops apart. It's time consuming to make it straight, make everything look nice. We went down the side of a wall, went up and into the peak of the house, and then all the way through the attic, about 50 feet over, through like an army crawl attic, outside of the house again, then back down inside of a house.
So how long was the line set?
About 64 feet or something like that, I believe.
Did you add any refrigerant?
Oh, yes, I did, Joe.
Okay.
Did you weigh it in?
Yeah. And I had to braze the lines, too.
Good.
I know everyone says you can't do that, but...
Oh, well.
Oh, you didn't use your torque wrench, huh?
No, I used the torque wrench.
At the unit, but...
But where you're joining the lines. You know what? There's a supply house that not the one I went to today, obviously, but they sell 150-foot line sets for mini splits, which are nice.
Did you use Nylog?
Yes, I did. On the threads and the backside of the flare.
Interesting. Now, how do you... I don't want to get into a Nylog debate because that's been done plenty of times. But how do you guys apply Nylog? You just squirt it on the threads, kind of smear it around a little bit?
I don't even smear it around. Just like get a little dab. I don't even go all the way around in the threads.
Yeah.
Just do like halfway and just let the threads take it,
Yeah.
Yeah, that's kind of what I move it around the threads a little bit, but The last time I was using it, I had considered bringing with me like just a small brush or something, kind of spread it out a little bit.
That's a good idea.
Again, I don't think
That looks messy.
If you
I mean,
yeah.
if you even get a little bit in the system, I don't think it's going to affect much. But again, I don't want to beat it. I don't want to beat a dead nylog horse.
Yeah, I agree. I agree with you though.
You know,
Little tiny bit won't do.
So yeah, that was my job today. I was dreading it all week. I knew I had to do it today. I'm like, oh man, I hate mini splits. I hate them. But you know what? I got that head unit mounted perfectly level because sometimes you run into an issue, and sometimes if like there's studs that are crowning the wall, you have a gap on one side or the other because it doesn't sit really flat. I picked a nice spot for it. It was perfect, and it had like no gap on the side of the plastic housing. It was beautiful.
You're 100% right. I hate when it comes out on the sides. I'm like, ugh, stay flat. You know?
But you can't. I mean, like realistically, it's because of the way the house is framed. If you have one stud that's bowing, like I said, if it's crowning or something like that, it's not going to sit flat no matter what. You know.
Yeah. What do you guys think about mini splits? Do you think they're gonna take the way of the VCR?
No.
Eventually, they're just gonna be disposable.
No.
No.
No, probably not. I wish they did, but probably not.
Yeah.
They're just too convenient. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Yeah, I don't know. I've only worked on maybe a handful. I've only installed maybe one or two at the most, but the little bit of exposure I've had to them, they've just been a pain.
Yeah.
They're just, in my opinion, somewhat overly complicated, small.
We do
probably cost too much to be disposable yet.
There is this guy on Instagram. I think it's Albert's Air, and I believe they're in the New Orleans, like I don't know if it's New Orleans itself or if it is the, just across the lake or whatever, but they do tons of Daikin, tons all the time. I see him posting daily new jobs that they do. I just couldn't, I think that's like all they do because that's all I see them post all the time. But like doing like jobs where you're using branch boxes, and I think Daikin calls them ref nuts, other, they're splitter tubes or whatever Fujitsu calls them, but I hate them. Can't stand them.
Yeah, I dread it.
So anyways, enough with mini splits. Yamo's not in here.
Yeah, enough about mini splits. So you guys probably saw we do have a super duper special guest tonight. Joe's little buddy that he brought with him.
My roommate.
Yeah, his roommate in the Hollywood squares here. Amazing.
That's hilarious. There you go.
I don't know how everything got goofed up, but whatever. We're gonna have to live with it, I think.
Yeah, let's hit his sweet entrance music.
Yeah.
There you go.
One of the big heating and cooling companies around town told my friend that he had to change his system because it's 12 years old. That doesn't sound right to me. With proper care, your furnace and AC were designed to last about 20 years. If the parts are available, Fox Family will make your repair and get you comfortable again, typically the same day, and protect those parts with a lifetime warranty. Get a free second opinion at foxfamilyhvac.com.
Best, honest, and friendly. Fox Family Heating and Air.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's a nasty jam right there, man.
Nice.
That'll get your shoulders moving a little bit.
So is that an FM or AM audio or radio?
That's FM radio. It's 101.5 is like a top 40, for old people. And then I'm also playing on the Christian radio station here in town as well, and a conservative talk radio station as well. So.
Oh my.
Yes.
Very good.
Nice. I think that's a good little jingle.
It's catchy.
Yeah, I just made that jingle. I just had some people on Fiverr made that little jingle for me. I said it's got to be 7.5 seconds, and they made it. I thought they did a great job. And then I cut 8 commercials to run this summer, and they're like perennial. You can run them any time of the year, so they're not just AC or just heating focused. So
Oh yeah, it's a good
I was
point.
efficient about it.
Yeah.
So did you record? Did you record it at your house or
Yeah.
Okay, cool.
Yep, right here with this microphone, and I just kind of stand up and I have my script in front of me, and I'm like, hi, this is Greg Fogg, you know, like really try to get into it. And, you know,
Did you make sure
whiskey beforehand?
no, I don't drink.
did you make sure your family was
Anymore.
good? Was your family around while you were doing it?
And Melissa was upstairs. She was like, yeah, I'm going upstairs. You're cutting
Awkward.
8 commercials. I'll be upstairs.
Awkward.
What did she feel about that commercial?
She thought the jingle was super cheesy. And I'm like, well, it's staying, you know, it's staying. So, I mean, she supports it. And I'm the one that's like, I can put myself out there and be cheesy and stuff like that. She's a little bit more shy and reserved. So we're polar opposites, perfect for each other.
There you go. I think it's got a little bit of a Jack Johnson sort of. It's got a positive vibe to it. I don't mind it at all.
You know, there's a ton of questions we want to ask you. I wanted to ask you first, breaking the ice. How is this, you know, COVID? I don't want to say it.
What is
Corona affecting your business?
Why are we whispering?
Well, they say, you know, your videos get, what do you call it? Tagged or whatever. If you
Oh yeah. if
Oh.
mention COVID.
They red tag them.
yeah. Right, tag them. Yeah.
So, you know, this time of year is really not that hot or cold. Well, I guess like the last month and a half or so, really not that hot. Like, and here in Sacramento, California, Northern California, nobody really needed air conditioning or heating. Normally, we would have been doing our preventive maintenances. I have like almost 900 preventive maintenance customers, or like on our club membership program. And so we come out and do their maintenances twice a year, once in the spring and once in the fall. So typically that starts in March, you know, March 1st. Like the guys are chomping at the bit to get some hours because February is usually lame. And so they're usually chomping at the bit. So we got, you know, first 2 weeks of March, we ran some maintenances, but after that, it just shut down, you know. So
So are you guys in quarantine as well then?
yeah, Gavin Newsom still got us on quarantine, and I think the latest California guideline is May 22nd. So May 22nd, I guess we're going to take a look at it again. But Newsom said we have to be on the decline. We have to be on the decline for 2 weeks before they'll consider reopening. So dentists, you know, tennis courts, you know, like non-contact. I play hockey every week, so you know, like hockey rinks can't open right now. But like if you play tennis or golf or ping pong, you can do that right now. But
Yeah, as
but
long as you're
apparently
6
I gotta
feet
wait.
apart.
Yeah, apparently I gotta wait for hockey, and that sucks. So.
Can I just cut
man.
you? Let me just cut in for a second. Did he say hockey?
Mm-hmm.
Wow. What made you get into hockey? Being from the north and seeing where you're from,
Yeah.
I don't know. I didn't think you would be. I don't know. There's not too many. I don't know. What made you get
Joe,
into hockey?
there's a lot of people that play hockey and
Is there? Okay,
like
okay.
hockey. You know, just because you're in Canada and you think that you guys invented the
Yeah.
freaking sport, you know.
You guys didn't invent it. You can't have it.
No, but usually I get the attitude like from you guys, hockey. Okay, yeah, whatever. I don't know.
No,
Here-
I'm super competitive, man. I'm
That's awesome.
I'm kind of the guy known out there as a little spazzy sometimes, but but no, I've just been I don't know, I've just been, you know, playing sports since I was in kindergarten, you know, and
Same.
like baseball, sports, soccer, track, wrestling, and you know, like I don't know, I came back from the Air Force, just started like I don't know, I guess I needed to rollerblade to work because I just needed somehow to get to work when I was bartending. So I'd rollerblade down this canal, and
Awesome.
and then I met Melissa and moved out to California.
Did you meet
And-
her while you were on rollerblades?
No, but shortly after
Okay.
I got off the rollerblades, I met her when I was bartending.
Did she
And,
know that you had rollerblades?
Hey,
If she did, you would've been in.
rollerblades, they were cool back in the
Yeah.
day. Rollerblades
Right.
were awesome. You know,
They were.
And it wasn't the
No.
4-wheel rollerblades. It was
No,
like the,
in line.
Okay.
in
I know.
line.
Watch you
Yeah.
age yourself. Okay.
Don't get me wrong. I love my Jinko jeans, but I never had never got around to the rollerblade movement.
Yeah, no, I and then so once I got out to California, there was this roller hockey place down at 4th and King, which is actually now a parking lot for the San Francisco Giants baseball stadium. So that place has been since leveled, but that played roller hockey there for about a year, and then moved out to Sacramento, started playing roller hockey out here, and then all the roller hockey places shut down around here. one by one, and then we all ended up having to go play ice hockey up in Roseville. So I've been playing ice hockey now for I don't know, I guess 18 years. And I play, there's like A, B, C, and D league, and I typically float between the B and C league. So
Nice.
the older I get, I think I'm going to C league next season.
Yeah, just to tame it down a bit, right?
Right.
Pretty soon there'll be, like football players eventually move on to flag football. You'll have to move on to like flag hockey or something.
Or CFL.
Less contact.
Or C. Right.
Yeah.
Or they have foot hockey where you're not on skates or
We used to do that in
blades or
elementary school,
anything.
but
Yeah.
let's not go there. And it
Broom
was like-
ball.
yeah.
Broom ball.
Broom ball. All right. Well, we're getting off track here.
So if you guys, how we picked back up now, like we hit like 90 degrees this past week. And so that obviously sparked people, hey, I need my air conditioner. So a lot of property management companies started calling for their rentals. And, a lot of that first wave of people who need their air conditioning at 90 degrees. I always say there's those people, and then there's the next wave of people who need it at 100 degrees, and then the next wave at 105 degrees. So we're kind of waiting on those waves, but right now we're absolutely swamped. So if we didn't have any work a week ago, 2 weeks ago, we're absolutely swamped right now, and the guys are running all the calls. It's just crazy.
Wow.
Which
So
tons of
customers have no issue letting you guys into their houses right now, huh?
Right. So we have the 3-ply masks that we wear, and then at first I got the nitrile gloves for everybody. Until I went out on a estimate myself and had so we put our shoe covers on, our 3-ply mask, and then the nitrile gloves. And by the time I was done with that call, like I had to go up into this hot attic and turn down this job because there's no way I'm even doing that job. But when I got out to the truck, I took my gloves off and it's like splash, it's so wet. My hands are so wet that it was like just like flash dance. So they just sprayed all over the place. So I got some of those Gorilla gloves for everybody, and I gave them the option of wearing Gorilla gloves. They're nice and flexible and breathable, so nobody's given us any grief over those yet. So they have to show up at the door with that stuff on and then take it from there. If the customer's like, hey, don't worry about it, then fine. So
Yeah.
Speaking of shoe covers, do you guys use just like the regular disposable elastic like shoe booties?
Shoebie?
Or the shoebie? Yeah, me and Adam were just talking about this the other day, that shoebie thing where you put it down flat and then you step into it and it like
Oh no.
crunches up around.
That's not Shoebie. That's something else. Shoebie is like the elastic ones that fit over,
Yeah, I know what you guys are talking about. I there's the cloth ones that tear up pretty easy, and then there's the plastic ones, and then both of them have their drawbacks, right? Because if you're on, you got the cloth ones, they tear up pretty easy. If you're on, hardwood floors, you can like slide right off the, right on your ass, and then the plastic ones. I like the plastic ones because they're sort of rainproof too, and not that I'm walking outside on them, but I don't know. They just kind of keep the dirt off, the floor a lot easier. So we go with the plastic shoe covers.
Yeah, it's funny. I had a contractor in my home months and months ago redoing some foundation stuff that I had going on, and their guys wore shoe booties. But after like 5 minutes, I noticed they would just wear them inside, and then they walk outside with them, and then come back inside. And I was thinking, so you can just take those off if you want. You're
Right.
and you're keeping your shoes clean, but that's about it.
Now that you said about wearing those latex gloves, somebody in chat asked, "Do you do installs? What is your position in your company as of now?"
Right. So we just did an install yesterday over at guy's house, and so we all showed up with our gloves on and our 3-ply masks on, and then we're ready to. We have our booties in hand, our shoe covers in hand, so that when we walk in the door, we can put them on. Kind of walk around the house, and then like I found myself. So I went up and helped Colin I was going to be there for the first couple hours. I went up, helped Colin take the furnace apart, and I noticed I had my 3-ply mask on still. Colin had his mask on. We had both taken our gloves off. No, I still had my Gorilla gloves off, but Colin had taken his off. And then, hour later, we're like sweating into our masks and
Yeah,
all over the place. And it's like, screw this, taking this
Yeah.
stuff off. Let's get to work. But every time we went downstairs, down the ladder and then taking stuff out of the house to the street, of course we put our mask back on, and that guy was really cool about it too. He wasn't like super picky. I had
Yeah.
I had an older couple that we were trying to win a job for, and they were like very extreme about it. They wanted us not only to wear the masks and the gloves, and hats, baseball caps as well, shoe covers, put the
Wow.
carpet runners down, and then they wanted to partition off with the Visqueen from the ceiling down to the ground, and like basically partition off part of the house
Wow.
so that it's an older couple, and I guess the wife
Yeah.
I mean,
has underlying issues. So
I would say I would be willing to do that if they would be like, yeah, let's forfeit the masks if we could partition off the house,
Yeah,
But
right.
doing all of that, you're like,
And you think that the customer is calling you in to do this service or install, you think they would be a little bit more lenient, like you're saying. Most of them are.
Was it
Not so.
something they could have just put off for a little while?
The guy was like, I really want this. He wanted a premium system.
Oh, yeah.
And I was like, well, so when are you guys looking to do this job? Well, I'd like to get this job just as done as soon as possible. And it's like, okay, well, I lost it. I lost the customer's last name is Fox too.
Oh,
Is that, how
does
does
that
that
happen?
distant
So
cousins.
Yeah,
What's
you
happening?
could
He's like, we're family, Greg. I'm like, okay, okay, yeah, you're my brother or dad, grandfather. I'm not sure, and then, but he just kept saying, we're family. And
You
I'm
ever-
definitely going with you guys. And then he ends up going with a cheaper company. I was like,
Yeah,
dude.
I was actually just disappointed the other day. We did an addition job with the general contractor. We did a flawless job. I mean, this could be like on the cover of a brochure for one of the manufacturers, and he was so proud of it. And he said he's got 3 systems in his house. His second floor system he wanted to have replaced. I sent my dad out to run an estimate for him, and as soon as he got there, let me show you, what they did downstairs. Let me show you this job. So he showed him the job. He was so proud of what we did. Went upstairs, showed him all his issues. We addressed all his issues and everything. Then we get a call. Yeah, I'm going to go with somebody else. It's like,
Right.
you were so happy with the job we did for you, and then you're just going to call somebody else,
right?
Yeah, money
Right.
talks.
How
Money
many
talks.
how many employees do you guys have, Greg?
Yeah. So there's 9 of us total with me and Melissa. We have one more in the office. That's Keith's wife. Keith is my field supervisor, and he was the first person I hired probably about 8 months after I started. And then I have a couple other guys that I poached from the last place I worked. They were just fed up with that company as well. So when I offered them a spot, they jumped ship and came over to the Fox family. And then I picked up a couple of brand new green guys last year, and Keith has trained those guys up to the point where they're totally solid on maintenance calls, maintenance works. And then one of them will definitely be doing service calls this year. Got to tell you a story about him. Don't let me forget, Eric. Don't let me tell you the Eric story. And then the other guy, new guy, Kyle, is he's doing maintenances. He might get some of those capacitor calls or something like that. So
Now, I know Adam touched on this, and a lot of guys or business owners want to know. I think Adam will ask his best. I think he probably knows what I'm going to be talking about. Is your employees? How do you make them happy? How do you keep your employees?
Exactly. Like, well, not only keep the employees. I think yes, that's one thing. But like, when you started off, you said you started off in what 2015.
yeah.
All right, so starting off in 2015, that's 5 years. That's a pretty short time frame to be growing your company and take yourself out of the field. That's awesome. I've actually had a company longer than that, and I'm not able to do that. I keep going through employees, and I have a hard time finding new qualified employees. And I don't know if the thing is like I need to be looking for employees and just go right for the jugular to train them right off the bat. Like, hey, I'm going to make you instead of trying to find somebody that I want. My question to you is, what do you do with your employees? How do you succeed? finding good employees.
Right. So I know what I wanted when I was a technician, and I know what I wasn't getting when I was working at that other place as a technician. Like those people just didn't even know me. Like I was just a number to them. And I started out at the biggest company in town, and I was one of 150 technicians. And I started out totally green. Those guys taught me everything I know, and I'm so grateful for all that. But at the same time, it was all about numbers, and it wasn't just about being, the old-fashioned HVAC guy, that comes out and takes care of your system every year. And like that's, being from Indiana, being from the Midwest, I have a little bit of down home in me, and I want to be that guy. I want to be like just a good old-fashioned HVAC guy. So I think my guys, when Melissa and I bring on people. Well, with Keith, it was a no-brainer. I mean, if I could duplicate Keith like 100 times, it'd be amazing, because he's just super solid personality-wise. But I bring over Keith, or bring over Colin, bring over Kyle Wernersbach, and some of these other guys, and I don't know, I just treat them like family, and we give them full benefits, 401k. Well, it's not really a 401k; it's like a simple IRA, but we match that. We do a match.
That's
So
cool.
that
Yeah.
gives them some free money. And then, I think a lot of credit has to go to Melissa, because in the office, she's super respectful to the guys, and she's very accommodating.
Yeah.
She cares about them.
That's big.
We give the guys raises every year. I do training every week, so I always find something to train about. Every Wednesday morning at 7 a.m. we come in, we have that camaraderie.
Awesome.
And
Can I chime in real quick, Greg?
yeah.
So with that camaraderie that you're talking about, this is something that I kind of struggled with for a little while in my early years, was sort of becoming too friendly with your guys, and then having the difficulty of trying to establish that line in the sand. Once a guy is like, "Hey, I thought you were my friend," and then you have to go back and be like, "No, you can't do this on the job." Do you ever run into that situation?
Yeah, there's probably one of my guys, I don't know, two of my guys that has kind of pushed the line a little bit. And, I guess at a certain point, we just don't go over that. You know what I mean? So, one did a side job on us, and I didn't hear about it, or, I guess I heard about it from the actual customer himself, so I had to confront, the guy, and I love the guy,
Was
man. I mean,
that that your customer he did a side job for?
Yeah, he didn't like the price of the ductwork oh no, actually it was moving the condenser over on the side. So we do it for like, $1,200 or whatever it was that day. And he didn't like that price. So, Tech was like, I'll come out and do it for $400, after work.
Oh, wow.
Or, the guy was like, can you come out and do it? And I was like, sure, I'll do it, and then so shit went sideways on ductwork and stuff like that there. So customer ended up complaining about some of the work we did there, and then that's when he told me about the guy doing side work on me, and so we had to confront him, and he was like, "Oh, I didn't realize that was side work," and it was like, "Hey, man, look, if you want to be a contractor, go get your contractor's license and open up your own business. Okay, look, dude, I love you. We treat you guys like family here." So I'm just open and honest with those guys. I tell them how much I care about them. But I think they understand there's definitely that line, that
I think you did a video on that, actually. I remember watching it about doing some side business.
Side work.
Yeah. Go ahead.
I think one of the things you mentioned was a customer asking the technician. No, it wasn't the other way around. Like the technician offering, you said a customer asked, like, "Hey, that part only costs so much. Will you come back and do it for $100?"
Yeah.
Right. It's like, dude, I can make $100 real quick. Not have to pay taxes on it, not have to do, all that stuff, and I just pocket it, make way more than $25 an hour. So
they don't understand, though. There's things that come with it, and there's also liability as well. That's huge.
Yeah, your insurance.
right.
God forbid something happens.
Just that flat fee that it takes to get an experienced guy in a truck with stock on his truck to a house like that. That's not free, obviously. Yeah. So do you run into that a lot, where you have customers trying to get guys to come back after hours? Or it doesn't sound like your technicians are doing that a lot, but you get a lot of customers.
I really don't think so. More so than anything, and I know you guys experience it too when you're out in the field, is like, hey, I recommend this compressor start kit or hard start kit, and here's the benefits of it, here's what it does, and here's the warranty on it. It'll be this price for you. And they're like, okay, so $342, whatever. And they're like, click, Amazon.com. And then they go to Amazon and it's like, man, this thing's only $35, and you're like, I'm just gonna why do you guys charge so much? So we get a lot of that, honestly, with the access to the internet right now is just like,
yeah. See, I'd have a hard time dealing with that, and I would just walk over and slap the tablet right out of their hands. And
you really want to? Yeah, you really do.
I mean, you have to kind of explain to them in a way what the cost of doing business is. You know what I mean? Like, I have to stock the truck with thousands of dollars worth of parts. We have a shop. We have people in the office answering your phones. We're paying for advertising. We're doing all this. So, yeah, we're paying $35 for the part. And then also I'm paying a good wage to the guy. It's hard to do this. I know a lot of people don't care because they just look at the part. But it's like, okay, if they're there for an hour, if they had travel time a half hour each way or whatever, that's 2 hours. You look at their pay, how much do we actually make on the call, So I don't know. It's hard to have that conversation with them, but
it is.
What do you do?
Because it's like throwing it back into their face,
Right,
It's like,
yeah.
You don't understand. So I actually had my cycle, I ride my bike, and I just had to get a little bit of a repair done. I couldn't get the chain wouldn't do something right. So I'm like, well, I'm not messing with it, because every time I screw with my bike, I end up breaking it. So, I screwed it up even more. So I called VeloFix to come out and do the work on it. And he shows up. It's $100 service call, right? He shows up, and, we chat for like 5 minutes in there. I'm like, so if you don't need me anymore, I'm just going to head on in and just knock on the door whenever you're ready. So he's like, I don't know, like 5-7 minutes later, he's like, knock, 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 knock. I'm like, oh, okay, come on in. He's like, hey, actually, it's all fixed. Go ahead and jump on it and see how it is, And he's like, honestly, I just had to like push on this little thing right here, and it actually reset, and I tweaked your front and your back here. And I'm like, hey, he's like, perfect, man, that's great. And he's like, so I still gotta, I hate this part, but I gotta charge you the $100, the $99. And I'm like, dude, I completely understand, man. Look at that van you just rolled up in here, and
Exactly.
I'm like, hey, like, you knew where to push on the drive chain to make it work. You know what I mean? So I didn't know where to touch it. So
yeah. When you own your own business, like prior to owning my own business, I was like what I thought was like the king of negotiating. You know what I mean? Like, I took pleasure in it, and then after I own my own business, now it's like somebody comes to my house, like, this is the price. I'm like, okay, sounds good, thank you.
Yeah.
mm-hmm.
yeah. And then you have like a buddy or your wife next to you or something. She's like, why didn't you talk him down? You could have got it for cheaper than that or something. And
Right.
Yeah.
So I told him the story. It's a Weldon Long story, and it's one of those where this power plant was overheating. It was like this power plant, and it was overheating, and none of the managers and none of the scientists there could like figure out what was going on and how to fix it. And just time went on, and things were getting worse with it. Finally, they called the designer of the facility, and the guy comes out and takes a look at a couple readings there, and then just kind of like turns the dial a little bit, relieves all the pressure, and everything is good to go. And he's like, that'll be $100,000. They're like, what was that for? Like, all you did was just turn the dial. He's like, yeah, but I knew which dial to turn.
That's right.
So,
That's the most important.
wow.
Yeah. I actually have I heard that same story too. I have a salesman that I've dealt with for a long time. He had a customer that was actually working on like this really old, what he said, if I remember this correctly, because this is like a 15-year-old story when I heard it, a really old boiler. And they had all kinds of companies and different techs out there working on the boiler, and nobody could fix it. And this company that my salesman was repping was out there, and he said, listen, I don't know what's going on, but I know a guy that's retired. I'm pretty sure we could pay him to come out, and he'll know how to fix it, because this thing's ancient, So he said, yeah, whatever. Let's do this. So the guy comes out, and he looks at it, and he's like, yeah, I could fix it. He's old. He's like 70-something. Yeah, I could fix it. How much is it going to cost? $1,000. Yeah, let's do it right now. Please, let's do it. So he goes in his truck and he gets like a huge freaking like a sledgehammer or whatever it was, and he just whaps this thing in this certain spot, and everything turns back on and it's working perfectly. And he's like, "You're gonna charge me $1,000 for hitting it with a hammer?" And he's like, "No, I'm charging you $1,000 for knowing that I can hit it with a hammer."
And knowing where
You know
to
what
hit
I mean?
Yeah.
You know what just popped in my head when we were talking about boilers and furnaces? We don't have to get into the physics of it, but do you see a lot of knock furnaces, low knock furnaces, whatever you want to call them, getting installed? Do you guys install them, and what's going on with that side?
Yeah, so California is so energy conscious, green conscious that before this year, low NOx furnaces weren't necessarily mandated here in Sacramento County, but they were in the county south of us, San Joaquin County. Now this year, low NOx furnaces are required. Pretty much the rest of the state, San Joaquin County is now requiring ultra low NOx furnaces. So they've always, I don't know, like for some reason, and it's kind of I don't know, it's not a very populous county either. For some reason, they're just really into that. So, but it's just that whole, you're dealing with nitrous oxide or carbon monoxide, and which is worse of the two, and which, that's what they're trying to even out basically is.
I just don't know. I mean, I don't know if you know the science behind it, but I've seen like the furnaces that I've worked on that we get occasionally a California furnace, right? A low NOx furnace. And basically the difference I see is they put a little screen inside of the heat exchanger.
Right.
I don't know what could that possibly do. Like
what they're trying to do is extend the flame. They're actually trying to lengthen the flame.
Okay.
So they actually make the cone a little bit longer. And so in doing that, is supposed to balance out the nitrous and carbon monoxide, effect. So a cold furnace is going to produce more carbon monoxide, but a hot furnace is going to produce more nitrous oxide.
Yeah.
So as first thing in the morning, it's going to be producing more carbon monoxide. Then as it starts warming up, as the day goes along, after it's fired up so a few times, then it's producing more nitrous oxide than carbon monoxide. And so basically what they're trying to do with that screen and other designs is lengthen the cone, lengthen that flame, so that it hits this certain temperature. So
yeah, I thought it was like some kind of pre-mix, like prior to the burner, it was like pre-mixed differently. I don't know. I thought it was
right. No, you're right. You're on the right track.
okay.
Sure.
It's always louder too. Those furnaces are always louder than just like the old school, 80% furnaces or whatever. That's what I've found. Like I've had people like complaining about a furnace is so loud it's in their living space, and normally the same model furnace is not loud whatsoever. I look at it and I see the screens in. It's at low NOx. I'm not in California. They don't require it here, so I pull them right out.
Pull them out,
and it's quiet again.
What's funny is that Ted's gonna love this one in chat. Boilers. Some boilers are already using that kind of method with a whatever you want to call it. There's there's condensing boiler, I believe, that have it. There's, you know what I mean. So it's kind of cool that now their furnaces are starting to use it. That technology, you can say. But
I have never worked on a boiler. Never.
There's many that don't. I get. Why would you? Right? You're all the way in the West End.
I did twice, and I had to call Adam on it. Turns out it was just a rollout switch. He's like, "Did you push the rollout switch?" I'm like, "I don't know. I don't know what that is."
You calling the wrong guy, dude. He would have told you to get a hammer and hit it.
That'll be $1,000.
It was like a 5-minute conversation. At first, we were thinking it was the vent damper, but it wasn't the vent damper.
Yeah, because I was getting what I thought was a fault code. It's real stupid. I really didn't want to say this out loud, but I thought it was a fault code. Turns out it was just displaying the temperature of the water inside the unit, and it was so low. I'm like, well, that can't be the temperature. I was thinking like it's been running, and it was like 70. It said like F72 or something stupid. So I'm like, oh, that's a fault code. And then later on I found out no, it's Fahrenheit, 72 degrees. So, that's why I'm the curious HVAC guy, not the curious boiler guy, I guess.
Well, next time you'll know.
Next time I'll know. Hey, real quick, I wanted to segue over to something we kind of touched on a little bit earlier. You said every Wednesday you try to incorporate some sort of training with your guys, Greg.
Yeah.
Now, what sort of training are you doing with your guys? And is it consistently every week?
Yeah, it really is. There are some times in the summertime when Melissa's like, "Hey, knock it off. We we got calls to run."
Yeah,
But so I get it. I understand. But
got to keep the
you
lights.
know, some of it's policy. Like last week we were talking about, hey, Gorilla gloves are okay to wear now. Um, be on time. Like, hey, the importance of being on time. So some of it is policy stuff. Some of it is stuff where something happened last week and we all need to talk about it. So like, and I'm not like, so Colin this week went out and told him what you did, Colin. I don't do anything
Yeah,
like that, but I just kind of like bring it up as a scenario. What would happen if you guys did something like this? So like this week we talked about our refrigerating refrigerant policy. So like, so that we're all on the same page going into the summer. What happens if we refilled? We put 3 pounds in somebody's system last year. We offered them, a leak search at that time. They declined it. We come out this year at spring and they're flat on refrigerant. How do we handle that? So I have like a process, kind of written down so that we all know how to do it. Keith absorbs that information, and then the guys end up calling him out in the field, like, "Hey, when they do call him, he has the answer for him, or I have the answer for him."
So how much time do you spend on like all right, so Wednesdays are training day. How long does that run on Wednesday?
It's an hour or two. So since we were slow, right, for the last, during COVID and everything, we went 2 hours on Tuesday and Thursdays. So like I paid my guys. Melissa was able to get the PPP and so that we could the funding so that we can pay our guys and still still cover their medical benefits. So we didn't furlough anybody. We didn't lay anybody off. However, just because we're not working, we're still going to come in and do a couple hours of training. So we would like some of the younger guys can work on door approach, maintenance calls, like selling club memberships to people, and then maybe how to sell, certain add-ons. Like I really only offer like a few add-ons, but there are add-ons that I really feel firm about, like compressor start kits, condensate safety switches, things like that I feel really, really firm about adding on
that
to
makes sense.
It does.
So
and
I was going to say with that training, along the same lines of the training, do you ever hire like I don't know what you want to call it, just a really green guy, a guy maybe right out of school? Do you ever hire a guy like that and then train them in your company?
Yeah, actually, just took 2 guys last year. We took 2 guys who knew absolutely nothing about the field. One guy had just seen like, all of my videos. And then another guy I played hockey with. He played on my hockey team in 2014 and went on to play. I know his dad. His dad's a retired major general in the Army.
Cool.
We actually ended up putting in a free package unit for him. So I was just kind of doing a military appreciation. I try to do something like that every year. So we took care of this guy's old system and changed it out and hooked up his ductwork and made it all nice and flowy for him. So his son, so I knew all those guys already, but his son was like looking for a job, didn't want to be managing Starbucks anymore. So so we brought him in, and Keith, he makes up this like this board, with motors and switches and contactors on it, and basically shows you how how an AC works, how a furnace works. He puts an inducer motor on this board and everything. Yeah,
that's awesome. That's cool that you're doing that for your employees as well on times like this, keeping them working and training them. That's awesome.
So how long do you just base? I mean, he's riding along with somebody, right? Like when you hire somebody like that, how long does that last, or is it just based upon how quickly he's taking everything in?
It is about just like totally. It just kind of depends on how those guys are doing. Like Eric picked it up super quick. Probably within 3 months, he was ready to do his own, maintenance calls, just maintenance calls, not service calls, nothing like that. Just really predictable maintenance calls on like newer systems, 5 years and younger. And then another guy, he about 6 months into it, finally he's ready to go, and that's fine. He's a great kid. He's got a great personality. And that's why I hire people, is because they have a good personality.
Yeah,
I don't necessarily need, I can train you to be a good technician,
that's
but
right.
I can't train you to be a good person.
100%.
And I feel really firm about that. So
Yep.
That's why I do commercial.
Yeah, you don't have to deal with it. There was
No personality.
There was a few questions in chat actually, Greg, that are pretty cool. One guy was asking, Holzer HVAC was asking, what type of pricing do you use for service? Level pricing or parts and labor? Hourly?
yeah, so we use flat rate pricing. And flat rate pricing is basically, I was just talking to the guys from House Call Pro about this because they were just looking for a little guidance on their flat rate pricing guide. And it's nice because I just made up our pricing, like made up a training on that. So I told the guys, like, because sometimes the guys will be out in the field and say, hey, this isn't on the list, so how much is it? I tried to tell the guys, well, we're $200 an hour. Basically just think that we're $200 an hour, and then how much is the part, right? So if it's this much and it takes an hour, so I just kind of have that all set up. But think about time and materials on a capacitor, right? So you got your time and then your materials, you mark that up, and it's going to be around $220.
Right.
All right. Think about your contactor, your time, you mark your material, you mark it up, and it's going to be around $265. So, so then you take this general field of parts that cost anywhere between $5 and $50, takes 30 minutes to an hour to install, test the equipment, clean up, put a warranty on it, and get out of there. That is a level 3, right? So and that's like capacitors, contactors, pressure switches, hot surface igniters, condenser coil cleaning, things like that, right? So, and then it just kind of moves up. And once we have 10 levels, and then we have a labor level. And then, so 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, these are all things that don't take very much experience to do. But once we hit level 6, like control boards, motors, things like that, the junior techs I'm not really wanting the junior techs to do those. So those are things that are going to have to be turned over. You can diagnose it with Keith over the phone, but somebody else is coming. One of the senior guys is coming out to change it, because it takes more skill and better workmanship to put that stuff in. And that's why that stuff's expensive. It's a $75 motor, sure, but do you have the expertise to take that off the belly band and put it all back together?
Yeah.
A belly band that falls into 5 pieces. It's like,
and then
right,
you can also have, the senior tech shows up. He can just sort of verify that diagnosis before the part is installed and unreturnable.
I mean, that's one of the things that I've always struggled with just like time and material. Like if somebody's just billing hourly, right? Because realistically, if you're a good tech, if you have a good tech working for you versus a company that has a bad tech will make more money, right? Period.
Right.
And that's not fair. Like,
that's not fair to the customer.
So if there's a guy that has been doing this for 10, 15, 20 years and he's ridiculously efficient and he just gets things done very fast and he does it, like nothing, why should he be making less money with all of his experience and knowledge versus somebody that's sitting there like scratching his head, making phone calls? Hey, what do I do now? You know what I mean? It doesn't make much sense. That's
the basis for flat rate pricing, not only for efficiency of, so the guys can just look at this list and be like 270 for that. But yeah, what if you have a fast technician or a slow technician or a medium speed technician? That way it's all the same price. It's good for the customer. It's good for the company. It's good for the tech. And we're that's why you have that in place.
Yeah.
Hoser had a good question here. He said, Greg, so on flat rate, how do you price warranty work?
Warranty work. Okay, so we go with labor only. So let's say you got a control board, level 6 control board, 647, and then our level 5 is like a 475 or something like that. And level 3 goes down to 270. Level 2 is like 120. So I try to tell the guys they're still going to pay for your labor, so they're not going to pay for the part, right? So we go out to a furnace, and they're like a 5-year-old system. It's the part's still under warranty, so we're going to call in and we're going to find out, pricing and availability on the control board, and then so how much labor is that going to take? It's going to take at least an hour to go get it, bring it back, install it,
Mhm.
and what kind of expertise does it take to install that? A little bit. So,
'Cause not only are
200,
you're not just putting it in there, you also you're verifying that it's working, verifying
right,
that there's no other
right.
further issues down the line.
So you're at 200 for 1 hour, 200 for the second hour, right? That it took you to
Mhm.
go get it, come back and put it in, and then have a little bit of expertise to put that in. That comes up to around the 470 area, right? So it's level 6. I just come down one level, basically. To answer your question, I basically just come down one level and that's going to be your labor on that. So if it's a level 4, then if it's a labor only, if it's a warranty thing, then charge them a level 3 for the labor only on that warranty. So
That's.
Go ahead.
I was just gonna say I want to just double check the stream because it's loading right now. Loading screen, loading circle of death.
Uh-oh.
mine is
No, just the live stream is.
okay.
Sorry.
Yeah, his hamster must have died.
Now what happened?
So, since nobody can hear us or see us anymore, how's your last time I talked to you, Greg? We were kind of discussing the totally not HVAC related, but the whole foods plant-based diet. Are you still on board with that?
Yes. Okay. So I have slipped up a little bit on that. Now I'm more a classified vegetarian, and I have had salmon a couple times. I've had fish a couple times as well. So I went from like 207 down to 195. I got
Oh.
down to like on the vegan diet, I got down to like 191. I just couldn't go down any further. Melissa was complaining because I was getting too skinny. And it's just not a good hockey weight either. You know what I mean? So
True.
you still got to be able to
Yeah.
lay the body on people. So
Absolutely.
See, yeah, I'm on board with the whole foods plant-based mostly. I still eat meat, but it's the only meat that I eat is just unprocessed meat. Like if I go deer hunting and we catch a deer, not catch
nice.
a deer. If we murder a deer and then we eat it, that sort of thing. But other than that, I mean, I haven't really noticed a lot of weight loss from that diet itself. Do you also have like an exercise plan, home gym, or anything like that you're doing?
dude, I am a
Besides
freaking
hockey?
nut. So I play hockey once a week. At one point I was playing on two leagues, Wednesday and Friday, but now I'm just on Friday. I have this indoor cycling thing. I don't know if you guys have heard about it. When I tell people about it, people start falling asleep. So just let me know if you want to shut up.
Is it the Peloton?
Well, it's not Peloton. It's called Zwift. And so you basically just hook your bike up to this trainer. There's like a direct drive trainer, and it translates your power input. When you go up a hill in it, it causes you to need to change your gears, and it seems like you're really going uphill, dude. So there's a lot of people on there, and there's actually like teams, and then I race. I probably race like 3 times a week on it.
Now that sounds exciting because
Yeah,
I just recently bought my own little what I would call a upgraded exercise bike from my little cheap piece of crap one that everybody used to see in the background here.
yeah.
But it doesn't have that level of technology in it. So I'm just sitting there, like watching my phone, playing on Facebook, trying to get my sweat on, as much as I can.
Dude, you got to talk to me. We're gonna get that laptop set up. We're gonna get you on Zwift, man.
I need to get me like a desk right in front of it so I can, watch some Netflix. What kind of how long are your sessions going with that setup?
Anywhere from an hour to 3 hours. Like I rode.
You ride a bike for 3 hours?
I rode a bike for 4.5 hours on it. I did 100 miles.
crap.
I did 100 miles one morning on there, and I got my little jersey on there, my little virtual jersey on there for doing it. So, but I do a lot of races on there, and they go anywhere from 45 minutes to an hour and a half sometimes, and I gotta win. I gotta get up there.
This is excellent talk, and I'm really curious about it. If you want, since we're not live on YouTube anymore, if you don't mind, we could loosen up a bit and we do a podcast for a half hour. If you want to join us on the podcast for a half hour, and we could
for sure
shoot the breeze. Cool. So Adam could work on that, and if he wants, we could go live on Facebook at the same time if he's able to do that.
Yeah, it's 10 o'clock. Yeah, might as well just if we're not, we're still not broadcasting on YouTube. We might as well just cut it.
Cut the YouTube. I agree, and we could go live on Facebook or do the podcast.
Audio. Can they hear our audio?
Is anyone talking in the chat?
There's a few people talking. I told them that we might go on Facebook, and I told them that what's it called? We're gonna do a podcast, loosen up a bit.
Yeah.
See, I started talking about Zwift, and everything fell apart.
No.
Yeah, I say we just do the podcast. I mean, we get on Facebook and we'll
Yeah.
just get on there to end the show basically.
All right.
Okay.
Just leave everybody hanging in suspense.
On the podcast, you're saying? Tell them, you know what, Bill? Tell them they could join the podcast if they want to hear it. You know what I mean?
How do they join that?
Well, I
Yeah.
mean, like later on, they could listen to it. I'm saying,
All right.
if they're
All right. I'm ending it.
cool. And
Yeah, cut it off.
Goodbye. I don't know what's going on the internet, but I'm going to kill Comcast. I'm going there with a gun tomorrow. Goodbye.